Have you ever wanted to be so far from your audience they can barely even see you? This is the Boya-BY-M1S, and so is this, and so is this, and this. That's a lot of mic. Currently retailing for about £15–17 here in the UK, so about 20 bucks. The nearest competitor to this from a well-known brand is probably the Rode SmartLav Plus, and that's still twice the price. I don't have one of those, but my friend Steph does, so she's very kindly offered to help me do a bit of a sound comparison between the two. On your mark, ready, set, let's go.
On your mark, ready, set, let's go.
Dance floor pro, I know, you know.
I go psycho when my new joint hit.
Just can't sit.
Got to get jiggy with it.
That's it. Before we get into this, it's worth saying I haven't been sponsored by Boya. I bought this with my own hard-earned cash, so I'm going to give you an honest review of this little mic. I think this mic will probably appeal to two different kinds of people. The first is those just looking to upgrade their built-in smartphone or SLR mics, and then the others are those looking for a secondary mic which they can use outside of their studio, and that's the camp that I fell into when I was buying this. When I'm in my studio and the mic that you're listening to now is the Rode Video Mic Go 2, I wanted something for travelling that was a bit less bulky, and the Rode does look a little bit like a sex toy, so I just wanted to avoid any awkward conversations at the airport. I also wanted something really cheap, so I wouldn't cry too much if I broke it while I was out and about. So this little bad boy is a successor to the very popular M1 and then the M1 Pro after that. The main changes are this little capsule doesn't need a battery anymore, so it's just powered from your SLR or your smartphone. It does lose the -10 dB switch that you got on the M1 Pro. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, the frequency response 50 Hz to 200 kHz, signal to noise ratio of 78 dB, and a weight of 68 grams, which is about the top range of what a mouse can bench press. Let's travel quickly into the past and unbox this thing. Now, companies typically use boxes to transport goods so that they don't get damaged, and they helpfully have added a picture of the mic on the box so that you know what is inside the box. So inside we find a pouch which is probably made from the hopes and dreams of small children, some instructions, warranty card, and a few stickers that you can stick on your toilet door if you so wish. Here we have the mic itself. It's a TRRS connection, and the extra R stands for raunchy, in case you were wondering. I'll be using this with my iPhone, so I'll need to use the extortionately priced Apple adapter to plug into the lightning port. We have the capsule here, which allows you to set it from camera if you're using an SLR, or smartphone if you're recording on your phone like I am. And then the mic here, quite nice and small. Inside this bag we have yet another bag containing the clip for the mics, like pass the parcel or some shit. And then we have a little foam pop shield here. So here's the clip, feels quite sturdy. This bit's metal, this bit's plastic. Clip on like that and we are done. One of the main reasons I wanted to get this mic was to do these kinds of out and about shots. Not too breezy today, we've got a few leaves falling, slight bit of road traffic in the background. Just going to shut up now so you can hear what it sounds like. Not sponsored. The cable is both a blessing and a curse. It obviously lets you do slightly more ambitious shots like that, but it takes forever to untangle it. But it's definitely easier than rigging up a full-on shotgun mic or something. And if that's the difference between shooting something and not shooting something, then it's probably worth it. The gain does seem to be a bit high, so I'm being careful not to talk too loud. Not least because I'd sound like a murderer in these woods. But overall, pretty happy. It's going straight into my iPhone 12 at the minute with the Apple Lightning adapter, because what could be better than making this cable even longer? One thing I've always wondered is, like swearing, do microphones sound better in France? Let's find out. BRB. Well, that was a pretty excessive segue, wasn't it? So here we are in the south of France, and the mic is doing its first test. As I mentioned, one of the reasons I got this was to be a bit of a travel mic that I could take out and about and not really care too much if it got damaged while it was traveling. I'm happy to say it did make it through French security without getting destroyed, so well done. If you listen in the background, you should hear some croissants baking, maybe the sounds of some French children probably speaking French. let's do a quick test of some ambient noise. As you can see, it's clipped just about my chest level. And just so I can justify this trip, let's do some more sound tests. So I'm going to move off axis, so to the left and the right of the mic, and you can see how it sounds. This is me talking to the left. This is me talking to the right. I know I just fell down a ditch there. It's not quite as fast as I'd hoped to just grab it out of the bag and get ready to record, because you do have to do a lot of untangling, and once you slip it through your t-shirt or your top or whatever, you got to clip the little capsule onto your belt and then figure out the cable with that as well. So not quite as plug and play. I think that concludes our test in France. After being here for less than 5 minutes, let's fly all the way back to London. Hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of what this mic sounds like and how it might sound in your setup. I'm going to talk about some of the things I found a bit annoying about this. Obviously the cable is the first thing to talk about. It's absolutely insane. It gives you all of the benefits of a wireless lav mic in terms of being able to move around as you're talking, with all the added fun of cable management. And there's also a very real risk of tripping over the cable and dying. But of course the cheapest decent wireless lav mics cost at least 4 or 5 times as much as this, so you have to weigh that up as well. The other thing I notice is the gain does run a little bit hot. From other reviews I've seen, it runs about 5 dB higher than the M1 Pro, so you just need to be mindful of your gain settings and make sure you're not screaming your head off while you're talking. Another tiny niggle was that every time I took it out of the pouch, the little pop shield fell off and I had to search for it on the floor. I think this is a common problem with most lav mics, so I can't get too annoyed about it, and I solved it by just sticking it down with some double-sided tape. Like many people that make YouTube videos, I love buying gear. When you buy something expensive, you kind of expect it to work pretty well, and it's almost a little bit disappointing when it does. But when you buy something cheap and it really outperforms its price point, that's where I really get the most fun from this. And to be honest, I think this falls into that category. Yes, it's a little bit fiddly with the cable, but for £15, I actually think the sound quality is really good. After having used it for a few days, listening what kind of sound it can get, I'm actually really impressed, and I might consider using it more in my YouTube studio as well. I popped all the links in the descriptions for both this mic and the Rode if you're interested in that. Bear in mind that you do need to use an Apple Lightning to headphone jack adapter if you are planning on using it with your smartphone like I am. That adds another £8 to £10 on top of the cost. But yeah, well done. Maybe in future offer a version with a slightly shorter cable. I think 800 meters is probably fine, but this one, it gets my stamp of approval.